Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it anywhere and everywhere. You can even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works.
Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Then you can go ahead and distribute your podcast to Spotify and anywhere else podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take the conversation with your fans to the next level, Q&A polls are the best way to get them talking.
With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions.
And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. We've been using Spotify for Podcasters, and we highly recommend you give it a try. Download Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters and get started.
All right, you guys, I'm here with Smokey Bob from B&B Barbecue for this fringy morsel. He also happens to be my brother-in-law. What's up, Robert? How are you, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Doing well.
That's cool. We've got a fringy morsel for you. We're going to do a little bit of a summary, I'd say, of the Durham Report that just dropped yesterday. And it was kind of blowing people's minds a little bit because we just want to give you some context about, what it's about, kind of what it says and those type of things. But the reason it's blowing people's mind is because it's basically saying the opposite of what the Mueller report said. So
exonerate Trump.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically exonerating Trump. And I saw a meme today that said the only people that weren't involved in this Russia collusion thing is Trump and Russia. Like those, like they're actually not even involved. So let's give a little bit of background on this Durham report. So you've got the special prosecutor, John Durham, who was given a task back in, 16, I think it was. No, it was 2020. I'm sorry. Bill Barr, who was appointed by Trump and worked for Trump, he started this investigation. He told Durham that they wanted to get this started and start investigating this Russian collusion thing because basically the Mueller report was finding that Trump was colluding with Russia for all of this. And it was a big thing in the news. You probably saw it. Russia, Russia, Russia. Trump says all the time, Russia, Russia, Russia. They're trying to say that I'm having these phone calls with Russian people and that are going to help me win this election. That was basically what the allegation was, right?
Yeah. So the Steele dossier came out or was developed, as you could call it, since this was found to be fraudulent in 2016. And so based off that information, they created the Russia collusion. So now Durham, later on, who was Trump had, do a special investigation. It took him 3 years to come up with, the documents and all the stuff so he could put out his version of what happened. And, according to him and even some left-wing media, CNN and places like that, they're saying that according to the Durham report that Trump was not colluding with Russia, which we already knew.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, right? You've got Fox News and CNN fighting back and forth about this for years, whether Trump did collude with Russia to try to win the election or not. And everybody knows that has half a brain, that this something nefarious is going on here. Something weird is going on here. So you've got all of these investigations going on. So how do you find the truth? Well, that's what Durham was doing, because Durham was going through and investigating this whole thing. We're talking start to finish. And what his new report, what is it, 306 pages, I believe. This new report that just came out yesterday is saying that basically Hillary Clinton colluded with Barack Obama and Biden and the DNC and the FBI was in on it, and they basically all colluded to make this happen, to orchestrate this whole Russia collusion lie in order to get eyes off of her for her email scam and all of all the stuff that she was going through, because they wanted her to win the election. And after spending millions of dollars buying votes and all of that, she still lost. And so now we're still talking about this stuff because there was fraud, and it's now finally been proven. Trump's been saying it forever, and now it's finally been proven. So what do they even have to say now?
Yeah, I think, anybody could see that they obviously didn't have any evidence against Trump. I mean, the reality is that if the FBI or even the Democrats would have had any solid evidence, they would have took Trump to court in the beginning. If they could actually prove anything in the court of law, they would have.
Yeah.
And they didn't, but they wasted millions and millions of taxpayer dollars and basically used the Russia collusion to taint Trump's presidency and make him look like he was a traitor.
Yeah. I mean, if Trump did do that, right, that would be treason. And to be able to say that he's still walking around, he's still not in trouble for anything, by the way, that they've ever accused him of. He's never been responsible for that. And some people would say, well, he's lost some cases here and there, like this last one with the whole sexual abuse thing or whatever it is. I don't even care anymore because I know it's all made up. And then you find out that it was made up because it's actually from SVU, Special Victims Unit, Law and Order. It's like the exact episode, and you can find the episode and everything. I'll put the episode in the show notes just so you guys can look that up. It's basically the same thing. It's like a TV show that they're playing for us to watch, and this whole collusion thing has been nonsense from the beginning, and it's finally coming out that the treasonous ones was not Trump. It was Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Biden, all of these people that are supposed to be, good and presidential, and Mueller, all of these, Christopher Wray. Like there's a whole list of people from the FBI that basically just didn't investigate. They just kind of pushed it aside and didn't investigate it. They wouldn't investigate Hillary Clinton's email stuff. They wouldn't investigate Hunter Biden's laptop. They're just not investigating anything that has anything to do with their agenda, which we talk about a lot on this podcast. They have an agenda, and they don't want to talk about anything other than that.
Yeah, I definitely think that, if Trump really was guilty, I'm 100% for him paying the price for that. Go to jail, go to prison, whatever it is that comes from that. If you make a mistake, especially people that are in offices of power, we need to hold these people accountable. And, so if that was the case, then I 100% for Trump, or anybody getting what they deserve. But when you have these establishments like the FBI and the DOJ, and you put your trust in them as an American citizen, like these guys are rooting out corruption.
Yeah.
These guys are rooting out, politicians and people in places of power that are doing disservices, not only to our country, but also to the American people.
Yeah, definitely.
You would think that they would do the right thing, but they're not. So not only does this, the wasted money and time and like the whole political divide that it's created, it's more than that. It's now the people can definitely say these, 3-letter, agencies are now not trustworthy. We can't trust that they are doing the right thing when it matters.
Right. And that's why we elect these people, right? Or supposedly elect these people. And if you don't think that there was any type of interference in the elections with the ballot boxes or with Dominion voting systems and them being hacked or all these different things, if a person doesn't believe any of that stuff, then this is evidence right now that they were interfering in the election in all of these different ways, including those things. So you may not believe that, but here's some evidence. Finally, you guys keep saying, show me the evidence.
Right.
Here it is.
I think we're living in a time where we have what I like to call information overload.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if you present somebody with facts, they still will believe what they want to believe. Let's say like Dinesh D'Souza came out with that documentary about the ballot boxes and these people basically getting caught using cellular data that they can freely buy. I mean, basically it goes to the highest bidder that you can buy this data, and shows you cell phone pings and where these people have been. And there was the same people at these ballot boxes, 20, 30 times, and all this information about them getting paid to drop ballots. I mean, there's
2,000 Mules is what that documentary is called. If you guys haven't listened to it, you got to check it out, because they go deep and hard into this whole investigation of people stuffing ballot boxes, putting 10, 20, 30 ballots in to these different boxes. And it's crazy. You can see it. It's on video. They're filmed doing it with security cameras.
Right. It just all comes back to, what do we do with the information now? Okay. So there was some malfeasance happening, right? Trump, the Durham Report exonerates Trump. He wasn't working with Russia. So now what do we do? Who is going to do something about this? Because we're talking about a Watergate level crime, and people are just pretending like it's not that big of a deal. Well, guess what? When Watergate happened, it was like the biggest political scandal of our time. Yeah. And then they're not even like talking about any kind of fallout whatsoever from this thing. And we're supposed to just be like, oh, well, you know what? We paid all this money, and I guess in the end of it all, we're just
nowhere.
Happen.
Yeah, we're just nowhere. You're like, no, we're not nowhere. It's completely exonerating Trump. And that's the thing that they will not say. But CNN actually said it.
Yeah, Jake Trapper.
Yeah, he actually said it. He said, hey, listen, this exonerates Trump, right? And it's true. It does. But I mean, if you read ABC News or you read NBC or all of these different controlled mainstream media organizations, they're not going to say any of that stuff. They may say things here and there like, oh, the FBI. They focus a lot on the FBI and how the Mueller investigation says that the FBI was, because the FBI is the fall guys.
Oh, absolutely.
They're always the fall guys. These news organizations are not going to be talking about the Hillary Clintons and the Barack Obamas and stuff like that, because they're not allowed to.
Well, you don't want to get Hillary.
Oh, there is a body count, a pretty lengthy one. You got to be careful when you're messing with that Clinton Foundation.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, in the end, it's very disheartening, to say the least, that this was a tool that was used during Trump's presidency to just basically completely divide the political landscapes, left and right, conservative, progressive, liberal, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And I think what we're trying to get at on this podcast and what we're trying to help people understand is that we don't have to be divided about this stuff. I think we're all in the same boat where this isn't about a contest for people, like which person do you want in this position. It's not a contest. This isn't a joke. We're talking about our economy. We're talking about our borders. We're talking about our security of our children, all of these different things. These are the things that we care about. And we don't care how old the guy is, how young the guy is, how we care that they want to do the job. They want to serve the people the way that they're supposed to.
America first.
Exactly. And we want to know that the person in the White House is actually serving the people and care about the people, because that's what the Constitution says. We, the people. And so there's this whole top-down structure where you've got the elites at the top and you've got the people at the bottom, and all the shit runs downhill. What Trump is saying is he wants to turn that on its head, and he wants all of the people to have a say in what's going on. And the people are the elites. All of us, we are the ones that control what happens, because we, in America, the Constitution says that we have the final say. We have the voice. But if you interfere with our elections, we have no voice.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it ultimately comes down to people starting to really understand the Constitution itself and how it was implemented, to where, we actually do have the power to pull these people out of office. We actually do have the power to use our voices and our votes to say, hey, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're not willing to do what's right for us, America, the hardworking backbone, the blue collar, the guys that are, building this country, if you're not willing to do the right thing for us, then you need to go. And it's not a left or right issue. It's everyone's issue. And you can definitely feel it right now when you're talking about higher gas prices, higher food costs. I'm a small business owner, and I can tell you that prices are drastically higher. And are they going to get better? We don't know.
We don't know. But the thing is they all want to talk about the environment. Let's save the environment. Let's save the whales. Let's do all that. It's like, that's great. That's all good stuff. But let's start with saving America.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're drowning right now. And I understand whales are cute and they're very intelligent and they need help, and we should help them as a planet. We should all come together and help them. But we need to fix our broken systems first. We're all backbiting and fighting, and nobody can agree on anything except for the Antarctic Treaty, apparently. And we just don't know Ice wall, look it up. How are we ever going to get, to a place of stability so that we can help the environment, so that we can help the whales? We want to do these humanitarian missions.
Absolutely.
But we're all barely surviving, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if you're barely surviving, you can't help anybody. It's like a drowning person. The drowning person isn't the lifeguard. There's a reason why somebody that isn't drowning and is more competent comes out there to help, and I believe that in this case, that's what Trump is. And that's what this is why the MAGA movement is as big as it is because we actually have a person that is saying, America first, the people first. Let's fix all of this infrastructure. Let's fix the wall. Let's fix the economy. Let's fix everything. And then we can worry about the whales.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, this is a good learning experience for a lot of people, that your vote really does make a difference. And maybe after this election cycle is over, we will get change, regardless if that's Trump or the next guy who's actually going to make the changes we need to see a positive change in our daily lives. I was actually watching a video, I think it was yesterday, and it's Robert Kennedy is speaking to the head of the energy department of the United States. And the guy is sitting there basically saying, we need $50 trillion to go net zero or carbon zero by 2050, I believe it was. And Robert Kennedy looks at the guy and says, okay, can you tell me, if we spend 50 trillion, and give some context, right now I believe we're like 30-ish trillion dollars in debt, with the most record high inflation that we've ever had. So imagine we're going to be over double what the deficit is right now. And he said, how much will that balance out the heat, that the earth is gaining every year? And the man couldn't give him an answer. He, does the roundabout political, like, well, we really need to do this and other countries need to get, and that's was his response was, we really need to do this and other countries really need to do this. But when asked the hard questions, like, how is this actually going to affect global temperature? He had no idea. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that people are saying, well, let's just throw money at it, right? And see if that fixes the problem. But throwing money at something with no plan is like shooting in the dark. Like, are you going to hit your target? I mean, there's probably a chance, but
very low. And I just think that, and I'm not dogging on the Democratic Party as a whole or Democratic people. And I think that people need to know that. I'm not trying to start a fight. What I'm saying is look at the evidence, look at what we're saying. And Robert F. Kennedy is actually a very good example of what a good Democrat looks like, because his uncle JFK was a Democrat, and JFK was a very good president for the amount of time that he had in office. And he was very democratic.
He was loved by the people,
and he didn't want the war with Cuba. He didn't want Vietnam. He was trying to get us out of Vietnam. He didn't want any of that. He put us on the
gold standard,
the silver standard. Yeah, he wanted to go to the silver standard. Look up that executive order. I think it's like, I can't remember, 11110, I believe, but don't quote me.
Don't quote me.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff that he was doing that goes against the deep state agenda, and then boom, he's dead, right?
Yeah, it seems pretty sus.
Yeah, like Michael Sussman.
A man of the people, and then you're dead.
Yep, exactly. Anytime that the people start joining with the person that's in the White House, something has to be done, because they don't want that unity. They only want division. They want the people to feel like they're not represented, like nobody cares and blah, 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 because that's where complacency comes in. Because then what happens? You have a whole generation that just stops voting, bro. Like, that's what our generation did.
Oh, yeah.
Our whole generation just stopped voting because we all were smart enough to see that it didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I always think it's crazy that the people, back in the 70s, the flower children, they're like anti-government, now you see a lot of those people like coming into the fold saying, well, maybe we should have big government and, less of our own choices. And I just find that to be wild. When you get to the point that me and Rick are at with our conspiracy theories, as the CIA likes to coin it, you kind of realize that both sides are the same.
Yeah.
And the whole game is to keep us divided by saying, well, what camp are you in? What side of the aisle do you represent? And once you get sucked into that political ideology, it's really hard to backpedal and say, but you guys are all getting money from the same people.
Yeah.
What have you actually done for the American people? How many years have you been in office? And I don't see lower taxes. The school system is in shambles. The roads are messed up. You know, we don't see anything really solid that's been voted on. Prescription drugs, highest in the world.
Yeah.
Medical, people are having to sell their homes to be able to pay for procedures. How is that even a thing? You know, we literally produce, you know, the research for all these medications, and the taxpayers pay for them. And then guess what? We sell them to the pharmaceutical companies for nothing. And then they make these drugs that are thousands of times more expensive and cost them to make. And here we are buying into the system. You know, there's just so many things that should be fixed. But again, I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. Well, we're better than you. Well, how are you better than them?
Yeah, it's like, what's the difference between you guys and the Crips and the Bloods?
Absolutely.
Like that's the thing, dude. Gang war is gang war. And what happens when you shoot that
Tribalism.
you shoot that dude's homie, and then he comes over and shoots your homie, and then it's just back and forth and back and forth. Nobody ever wins, dude. And when you're raised in that, nobody ever wins.
Nope.
You're just stuck forever because that's where they want you to be. And people need to wake up to the fact that the political system is a gang war.
Absolutely.
And you guys need to stop playing the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the other thing is like, why are laws created that are so complicated to read that I can't understand it? Like, I need an interpreter to tell me why you need money for this wall. And then also you need hundreds of millions of dollars for other things that don't even pertain to the law.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of nonsense that goes on.
Well, it's like this whole Durham report. Like, it's 306 pages. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
You can't just write me a summary, dude. Give me a freaking book report.
They were doing bad things.
Yeah. Like, I think the American people just want to know the truth. They don't really care about these dossiers and these, like, most people don't even know what a dossier is.
No.
Like, what I want to know is, was it Trump or was it Hillary?
Correct.
That's what I want to know. Just answer the freaking question already. Like, I'm so sick of this political doublespeak and talking in circles, dude. They just talk you in circles until these talking heads on the news. Like, we've been talking about this Russian collusion thing since 2016, bro.
Yeah. You basically just start getting frustrated after a while because, you know, everyone's saying something different and they're not straightforward about their answers at all. So yeah, it would be nice if Durham would just come out and just say 100% there was treason, basically, because that's what it is.
People, yeah, and this is the list of treason, and these are the people that need to be held accountable, and we're going to leave it up to the American people to vote on what it is that happens to them.
Yeah, I agree, and hopefully, I mean, we can hope. Hopefully God will pass judgment and there will be some sort of resolution with some people going to jail, but we can pretty much assume that won't be real.
Yeah. We're just going to have to see. I guess what it comes down to is we're not voting for, and I'm going to wrap this up because, you know, we try to keep these fringy morsels short, but what it comes down to in the end is politically, it doesn't matter who is in the White House. What matters is what are they doing? And I just want to read this really quick to close us out because this is what Trump did. And you guys already know what Biden did. Please believe.
Sniffing kids.
Yeah. So it goes like this. This is Trump's resume for when he was a president. No war. He did not start a war. In fact, he created peace in the Middle East for the first time in a very long time.
Yes.
He destroyed the ISIS caliphate. The whole ISIS thing that was going on, destroyed it, and quickly and effectively. A strong American economy. He rebuilt it twice. I don't care what CNN says. I don't care what anybody says. Look at the numbers for yourself. He rebuilt the economy once, and then COVID hit, and he rebuilt it again. Virtually no inflation while he was the president. the people's 401ks were soaring, and that's because the stock market was profiting. There was low gas prices, secure oil reserves, lower taxes, a strong U.S. dollar, secure borders, and the whole Remain in Mexico thing was in place, and people were following it. There was low crime, permanent funding for historically black colleges, because he's a racist, pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal and didn't send plane loads of cash to them. In fact, he didn't give them any cash. 35 million in grants for shelters and human trafficking victims, launch missions to decriminalize homosexuality in nations where it's punishable by death, 4 executive orders to lower prescription drug costs, which Biden overturned when he came back in.
Yes, he did.
Rebuilt the United States military with over $2.2 trillion in defense spending, including $738 billion for 2020. And the last one is my favorite. He didn't take a presidential salary. In fact, he donated it.
Amongst other things, oil independence,
If this mic wasn't on the stand right now, I would have dropped it. But
boom,
you have to understand that if you're looking for a president, listen to what the resume is. Do not judge on this fake news rhetoric that they're trying to push on TV. All of this stuff about Stormy Daniels and this other chick and all of this, look it up. It's all fake. It never happened. He hasn't gone to jail for any of it. It doesn't matter if he's been arrested. None of that matters. They haven't proven anything. Doesn't matter how many times he's been impeached. He wasn't actually impeached. The process of impeachment, and I know I just said I was going to end this, but I'm sorry. You have to understand this. The process of impeachment is the Congress can say that you're impeached. They vote on it, right? And then you have to actually go to a trial, and they have to find you innocent or guilty. Like that's how the process works. He was never found guilty. Just because a Democratic, Trump-hating Congress votes on an impeachment doesn't mean he has been impeached. Just to clarify those things, because I know it confuses people because of the way that they've set everything up. It is confusing. But Trump was never impeached. He was never found guilty in the trials after the vote by the Congress. Anyway, hey, Smokey Bob, thanks for coming on and hanging with me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Just remember, facts over feelings, people.
That's right. Nobody cares if your feelings are hurt. We want to know what are the facts and how can we fix this country and the world for that matter, because we love Jesus and we think Jesus wants to fix the world. So do your part. Continue to listen to our podcast. Continue to share. That would be awesome. This message with as many people as you can. And with that, me and Smokey are out of here. Later,
dudes.